Hello everyone, I'm Jim Needleman and this is For the Record. Gun violence, police chases, and gangs are among the problems law enforcement agencies across the Quad Cities are trying to get under control. One of the more serious cases happened in late May when East Moline police tried to make a traffic stop. Officers wound up in a shootout when they say the passenger got out of the car and opened fire on them. They shot 25-year-old Daryl Strunk. He survived and now faces prosecution. Officers were cleared of any wrongdoing after an investigation by then acting Rock Island County State's Attorney Patricia Castro. There was this police chase earlier this month that ended with a man in jail. Dozens of officers searched for a man near the intersection of Interstate 280 and Route 29 in Milan. He was wanted for shooting a gun in Moline. Police say a 14-year-old was in the car with him. Officers wound up arresting 22-year-old Tyler Walker on weapons charges. Now, these crimes are among the challenges new Rock Island County State's Attorney Dora Villarreal promises to address. Villarreal got appointed to the interim job by the county to replace acting State's Attorney Patricia Castro, though the dominoes fell ultimately to replace John McGehee after he became a judge. Gun violence, chases, and gangs are among her priorities. She also intends to streamline operations within the prosecutor's office and alleviate the backlog of cases as well. The woman doing all of it joins us for a conversation this morning. Rock Island County State's Attorney Dora Villarreal. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jim. It's a very pleasure to be here.
Great to have you as well. You indicated an intention to be tough on prosecuting cases involving violent crime, gun violence, gangs, and those car chases we see quite a bit, and created the position of a street crimes prosecutor to help with these cases. How much of a difference can that make, and does this mean there will be more prosecutors on these cases?
I am hoping that it will make a difference. Basically, it's going to be a coordinated effort with my office and law enforcement to make sure that we are tackling these serious cases, that we are focusing our time and energy on these more violent offenders, and the violence that is occurring on both sides of the river. Both Scott County and Rock Island County are basically stuck with these types of crimes and trying to address them and work together with law enforcement and trying to address it. So I have I still have the same amount of staff. They are great. They are very hard workers. And what I have done is basically appointed one of them to become my street crimes prosecutor. And he will be working together with law enforcement as well as myself to specifically work on gun violence, fleeing and eluding, so a lot of the car chases that we've seen, as well as any type of gang violence, which some of these cases have dealt with gang violence, and drugs. So a lot of the shootings and even murders that we have had in the area have had to do with drugs.
Do you think that's enough to have the one prosecutor handling all those cases potentially, or do you need more?
No, we do need more. However, this is a group effort. It's a team, it's teamwork amongst everybody in my office, and they're all willing to pitch in. At this time, I actually have a head street crimes prosecutor. I will be assisting. And also I have another one who is my drug prosecutor that will be assisting street crime. So it's really a coordinated effort, and then I have the street crimes prosecutor as kind of the main contact for law enforcement. And I do think that by basically focusing our time and energy in prosecuting these types of cases and then using more of our, I guess, financial resources on rehabilitation, mental health rehabilitation and help on the lower level offenses, which really have more to do with addiction and mental health problems. I think that's more of a nationwide trend as well as a state trend, and what we are seeing with our new governor and where he has allocated funds.
I want to stick with some of the violent crime issues because we've certainly seen the stolen car chases and the shootings across the Quad Cities. A lot of gunshots reported. When we talk to police and ask about gangs, they tend to shy away from the word. But if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, a lot of people just say it's a duck. So what kind of gang problem do you think there is in the Quad Cities, and how can the state's attorney's office really do anything about it?
To be honest, it ebbs and flows. When I first started doing criminal defense work, there definitely was some very defined gang violence happening, and I think there was a break. And now it's slowly trickling back and forth. In the past, Moline PD and Rock Island police departments were very active on keeping track of gang activity, and they were actually assigned certain numbers in police logs to keep track of their activity, who they were affiliated with. And that is something that my street crimes prosecutor is going to be working with those departments and all of the departments on reinstating and making sure that we're keeping track of that. Now that helps in doing some enhanced charges such as mob action, felon in possession of a firearm or a gang member in possession of a firearm. There's also affiliation, gang member in contact with another gang member. These are charges, excuse me, that can be brought and that haven't in the past, and that we would be looking to start charging again.
Another position you developed is a special victims prosecutor to work with victims in these cases. What exactly are the responsibilities there? Is it to counsel victims or to prosecute criminals, and is this a cost-effective approach?
We actually have 2 victims advocates in my office, and they are not attorneys. They are specifically there to make sure that our victims are getting the attention they need and make sure they're aware of all of the offers that are being made and the court dates. So I have an assistant state's attorney that would be making sure that all of this is being coordinated between all the attorneys in my office as well as the victims to make sure they are being notified of everything that's happening in the cases. So it's really more of a liaison with the victims advocates, and all of the cases that are occurring. So again, it's not a new position, it's not a new attorney, it's just a new designation.
We have more ground to cover with Dora Villarreal coming up. Going to pot, what challenges legal marijuana presents to the prosecutor's office. For the record.